Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out today. I appreciate it. You left the confines of your own home and you went onto Zoom. I know it was probably a very far way to travel and stuff, but hey, that's the world that we're living in right now, right? Today, I'd like to talk to you about the 5 keys to greatness. What are the 5 keys to greatness? Well, we're going to cover that throughout the day today. Not the day, throughout this little segment. The idea is that you can take these 5 keys to greatness. It's a simple to remember system, but you can take them, you can apply them to your life, and you can bring yourself up to a new place. Find your own hidden potential and just find a way to live in excellence, even in the face of complete uncertainty, like the times that we're living in right now, which is, as we all know, unprecedented times. I mean, things are changing by the minute, and the government says to go like this, the other people say go like this, and everybody's arguing. It's craziness. It's complete total craziness. But we can focus on being our best selves, and we can focus on making sure that our own lives are as good as possible, and we can focus on making sure that we're able to achieve our own greatness. And this is an important thing that people have asked me before. What do that's not my definition of greatness. I'm not saying to do my definition of greatness. The idea is to find a way to fulfill your definition of greatness, because your definition of greatness is, frankly, the only one that matters. To start off with, I know that it's April 7th. Nonetheless, I'm going to ask everybody to take a moment, please, and jump with me. Let's travel in time to the new year. It could be 2020, it could be 2021, if you want to forget that 2020 ever happened, whatever. The point is, we all sit there, and 364 days out of the year, we don't necessarily think about our resolutions. What are we going to change to make things better in our lives? And then one day a year, we say, okay, it's the new year. I'm gonna change this about my life. I'm gonna change this about my life. I'm gonna change this. Why do we just give up on those other 364 days of opportunity? We have a day every single day we can create a new resolution and change our life. So I'm going to invite you right now with me as we go into the 5 keys to greatness to travel in time to the new year and put ourselves into that mindset so that we can create this place to be that we can then travel into the 5 so we can sit there and focus on our resolutions and ways that we can make things better. I gotta see if I can play this video. Here, we'll just jump into this for a second. I hope you guys can see part. Play slideshow, zoom in. Sorry. This is the one part that I didn't test this morning. Okay. You guys are going to see my screen for a second while I just change the size of this so you guys can see the whole thing, just in case it doesn't. Okay, play slideshow. So travel with me for a second. Times Square, 30 seconds left. Right, and we're all going to count together. And I know you're at home. Try not to wake the neighbors or anything. Let's go to those last 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! So I hope that was a good little time travel for you. Let's get this back to where it only shows what it's supposed to show. Okay, so we always have this opportunity to travel in time and to go wherever we want. And so many of us are so focused on the day-to-day and so focused on what's going on around us that we forget that we have that choice to create resolutions, to create change in our life whenever we want. And that's where this quote from James Dean comes up. Dream as if you'll live forever, but live as if you'll die today. And those who come from a Jewish background or from a Jewish studies background will also know that there's similar stuff in the Ethics of the Fathers, in the Talmud, right? Live each day as if it were your last. We always have that opportunity, but a lot of times we only think about it on the new year, and we don't have to. We've got such an amount of greatness within us that when we reach deep within ourselves and we allow ourselves to pull it out, we can, the whole world's open to us. We can unlock our own greatness. We can do whatever we want, and it's just amazing. There's an old African proverb that says, if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. We are our own worst enemies most of the time. We tell ourselves, I can't do it. We tell ourselves, it's not worth it. We tell ourselves, what are you thinking? Why should you even try? But this is the whole point. We always can try. We always can sit there and try again and again and again, and it doesn't matter, because the more that we try, the more that we allow ourselves that opportunity to change, the more that we allow ourselves that ability to make something different with our lives, the more we're able to do it. We can do whatever we believe we can do, we can do. The average person, let's talk about average for a second. They're so tall, they make so much money, they have so many kids, they live so many years. But most people, other than their own small circle of friends, they don't even know that they exist. They're unremarkable. They're not living a life of greatness. They're not fulfilling their true potential. And then one day, and unfortunately this is like far more not appropriate, but far more poignant right now, one day it comes to the end. And what kind of stories do people tell about average people? They just tell average stories, right? They were a nice guy, they were sweet, they were this. The stories of greatness come from people who transcended what they were able to do and became huge and did amazing things. These are the people who they tell crazy stories about. And the choice is yours. You want to have people telling at the end of your life, do you want to have people telling he was average, she was average? Or do you want to have people saying this person made a huge difference in the world around them? They fulfilled their own greatness, and here's how. I know what I would want personally. Hence the 5 keys to greatness. Now, something about the 5 keys to greatness is that you need to understand that every single one of these keys has 2 main ingredients that you have to bring in, that you have to make a part of what you're doing in order for it to really unlock. And those 2 ingredients are passion and action. You can actually say it with me if you want. They rhyme, passion and action. Just remember that, it's passion and action. Everything needs passion and action. About passion, I was competing in a contest a while ago for speaking. And I was telling somebody that I knew, I said, yeah, I'm going to this contest, and I talk about this and this and this. And I said it just kind of like deadpan. He looks at me, he's like, where's your passion? Where is all of your life that you're putting into this speech? You want to like rile people up? You want to get people involved? You need to be more passionate. And I said, but I'm just telling you, it's like, it's night, it's after synagogue, I'm just telling you like what's going on. He said, yes, but you have to bring it all the time. And it's true. You always have to bring your passion. You have to have more fire, more passion, more light. Also, when you have that passion, focus on healthy things. Now, everybody's got their own concept of healthy, fine. But a good example of unhealthy passion, things to be passionate about, are a drug addict. They're very, very passionate. They want the drugs now. But it's not a good thing or a healthy thing to be running after. So it's important to focus your passion on things that you feel are healthy: exercise, food, goal setting, things like that. The 5 keys to greatness. It's important to focus your passions on things that are healthy. And also aimless passion. We've all seen that guy or that girl who's incredibly passionate about something but has no idea where they're going. I would highly recommend that you aren't one of those people. It won't get you very far. So, quick question: what's more important, action or thought? Right? Well, I meant to do it, or I did it. Obviously, I think everybody can agree that action is far more important than thought. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, but if you took good actions, then there is no road to hell, because you took the good actions that created that reality of what you did and not what you meant. So action is incredibly important, right? It's our actions that determine our capacity for excellence, our ability to overcome, and what we need within ourselves to achieve greatness. And when you see that opportunity to be exceptional, take action. Dare to be great, and you will achieve it. So as we said, we've got two main ingredients for every one of our keys, and those are passion and action. And either one of them is not enough by itself. We need both in order to unlock that greatness, in order to achieve that greatness within us. Our first key that we have today, and if you pay attention, you will notice that these keys overall spell great, G-R-E-A-T. So the big word over there is the G word, give. And as we go through, right, if you just remember what those are, great, that's the mnemonic. And then if you remember give and the other letters that coincide, that work with it, it'll give you that easy to remember framework so you can apply it to anything you want. And then as you start to think, well, oh, here's the concept that I think that if you look in the 5 keys, almost anything fits within them. So just pay attention. It's a simple to remember framework, but there's a lot of depth to it as you start to apply it to your life. Giving. To give is to live. Giving is living. When you're able to give somebody something, you float on clouds for the rest of the day. Have you ever done anything spectacular for somebody else? Raise your hand. No, nobody's gonna be able to see you raise your hand. Sorry. I'll raise my hands. My hands. When you give to somebody, when you bend over backwards to do something amazing for somebody else, you live on clouds for the rest of the day. It happens. So the more that we're able to do that, the more that we're able to give of ourselves, our time, our money, the more that we reap benefits for ourselves that has a far greater impact on ourselves, on our own happiness, and on our own self-worth than anything that you actually gave away. And it's important to remember this. Giving is one of the cornerstones of greatness. You can give, you can help somebody who's struggling in business. You can help somebody with a mentorship. You can help somebody with money. You can help them. There's a million different ways to give. And you could do it tons of ways. Anne Frank said, no one has ever become poorer by giving. When we give, fine, now you're missing what you gave, but you've got so much more. And it's important to realize it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. You can give stuff that's so simple. A little kid walks around outside, he finds a dandelion, picks it up, walks over to his mom and says, Mommy, I got this for you. The adult in you might say, that's just a weed. But the kid over there saying, I found this beautiful flower, and I thought of you, and I'm giving it to you. It's such an amazing thing to be able to give, and it doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple, and you can make a huge difference with it. Now, anybody on there here who knows what this is, that's amazing. For those who don't, this is called a shofar. It's a ram's horn. At the high holidays, Jews will blow it, and they make it blow it like a trumpet. They make a noise out of it, and every adult Jew finds it incredibly. The way to put it is every adult Jew feels like this. It is a positive commandment to listen to this horn being blown, and people go to great lengths to listen to this horn being blown. In the sense that if somebody's stuck in, let's say, jail, they'll make sure to find a way to get a horn into the jail, and somebody will blow so everybody can hear it. If somebody's stuck in the hospital, people will walk miles to get to the hospital to be able to blow the horn for people. There are people who will walk around on the high holiday holding a horn. For instance, this past year, I was in New York, and there was a guy walking around. I said, hey, my wife hasn't heard it yet. Can you pop over here for a second? So he walked up, he blew the horn, and he walked away. People hold this in very high regard because it is a positive commandment to listen to this horn on the high holidays. My brother-in-law's father was a little kid in San Francisco. His father knew that there was a gentleman in the ICU at the hospital. He asked his son, do you want to come? He said, yeah. So they walked 5 miles to get to the hospital. They show up to the hospital. They get up to the ICU. They see this guy laying there in bed. You wake him up. Hey, Yankel Schmerl, we brought this horn. We brought this shofar. We want to blow it for you. You can't do that. I can't do that. What do you mean I can't do that? I just walked 5 miles here for you. You can't blow the horn. How could I not blow the horn? There's many sick people on the floor. We're in the ICU. If you blow the horn, it might scare them. It might shock them. It might surprise them, and they might die. I don't want their deaths on my conscience. I'm sorry. I know you want to blow it. You can't blow it. We might harm somebody else. So this man in the ICU gave of his ability to listen to this horn as a positive commandment, something that people hold incredibly precious, incredibly dear. And he gave it over because he recognized that to himself, it was more important that these other people are able to live. So he was able to give of that to other people. The end of the story, 2 months later, this guy was terminal cancer. 2 months later, walked away, completely healed. Now I asked my brother-in-law's dad, I said, by the way, can I verify the truth of this story? It sounds, and so I dropped all the details on I told him all the details. He said, yeah, no, that definitely happened. That happened. If you're Jewish, Meister Shahayu is a story that really was. This man walked away from terminal illness, and I'm not going to say that it's because he gave this, but I will certainly say that probably didn't hurt. Give of yourself. Our second key, remember, great. So we've got give, and now we've got reason, right? You got to have a reason to live. You've got to have a reason to go to work. You've got to have a purpose to live. You've got to have a purpose to go to work. Work and home, although right now they're totally not different. I mean, you're home, you're working, your kids are all over you. There's no separation right now. But in general, you spend 40 hours a week working. You spend 60, 70 hours a week at home, and the rest of the time you're spending sleeping. So work is a huge portion of your life. So if you want to define a separate purpose for your work, a separate purpose for your home life, I highly recommend that. And with your work life, don't focus, let's say you work in administration, don't focus on the administrative tasks that you do. Focus on the bigger picture of the company that you work for, right? For instance, if they're administrative people for the Power Entrepreneur, focus on your reason for being, focus on your reason for going to work. As an example, the Power Entrepreneur, if somebody works in administrative tasks there, they don't have to sit there and say, well, I go to work to file the bookkeeping. I go to work to do all this back end work. No, they can sit there and say, I go to work to inspire entrepreneurs every single day. Yes, what I'm doing to inspire them is just working on the back end of the website. What I do to inspire them is just working on the bookkeeping. That doesn't matter. The deeper purpose to what you do. Now, when I'm dealing with one company, I show them the deeper purpose to the larger company that they're working for. But here, each one of you, just look at what your company does. Figure out the deeper purpose. How are you helping people? How are you making a difference in people's lives? And make that, this is the reason that I go to work. It'll help you bring out more enjoyment from work. It'll help you bring out more fulfillment for work. It'll help you feel more present at work. It'll help you feel better about everything that you're doing. As long as you define your purpose at home and at work, in the major areas of your life, it'll help you tremendously. These slides are not going to work over here right now. And as far as your home life works, I have a little exercise online. If you want to jump online to arigunz.com/5 keys, you can do it later. You don't have to do it right now. 2 different exercises. I'm going to cover one of them quickly right now. Basically, if something continues to come up in your mind, this project continues to be a thought in your head of I should do this. This is something I've always wanted to do, and I should work on this. But you never take action on it. There's a good chance that has something to do with what you feel your purpose should be inside of your life. There's another exercise of, simplified exercises to kind of help you point you in the right direction. But the more that you could pick a purpose for your life, for your work, the more that you could pick a purpose that allows you to have that burning desire to achieve your purpose, the better it is. Because when you have that burning desire to create change, that burning desire to fulfill your purpose, to fulfill your reason, it makes things amazing for you. Another little point, you don't have to pick the perfect purpose now, and it's the same thing for your entire life. Let's face it, we are dynamic human beings. We're dynamic creatures. You at 15 are not the same as you at 25, or not the same as you at 35, 45, 55, 65. We're not the same. We change. Our values change. What's important to us changes. Everything, all over the place, it changes. So you can define a purpose for yourself now. You can just, pick something right now and say, I'm going to pick this and I'm going to start working towards it. And then, I have to realign to something else. Maybe in 3 years, I have to realign to something else. I'm not suggesting you change your purpose for being every month, but I'm saying that you don't have to obsess over what you pick. Because if in 6 months you say, this doesn't really fit me as well as I would like it to fit, change it. That's okay. I like to tell people that if you're driving down the I-80 and you realize you really need to be on the I-90, right, the highways that go across the United States, you're not stuck on that highway. You can navigate to the other highway. It's okay. Totally fine. So you can always change your purpose. Our third key. So we've got great. G is give. R is reason. E is engage or presence. It's all about being more present in the present moment. A few years ago, I woke up one day, not literally woke up, but woke up and I said, where's my life going? Like, I just didn't have clear memories of like the things that are most important to me because I wasn't as engaged in the day-to-day as I could be. I was so wrapped up in other stuff, and it's still a little bit of a problem, but this is something that we can work on a little bit at a time, right? We don't want to wake up one day and say, where did my life go? What just happened? I have no idea where my entire life went. It disappeared. We don't want that to happen to us, right? Time is passing every second. If you listen to certain people, time is one of our most precious commodities because you cannot get more of it. You have what you have, and that's what you have. That's it. So the more that you can focus on the now, the more that you can focus on the fact it's not about the past, it's not about the future. The more that you can focus on the now, the more that you can be present in the present moment, engage with the people around you, engage with what's in front of you, the better off you are. You can either be there or not. And again, right, you don't have to change everything in a day. You don't have to sit there and be perfect tomorrow. Incremental improvement is perfect. You always want to just focus on being a little bit better than you're yesterday, right? You want to be a little bit more social, engage with others a little bit better, socialize with people face to face. Not right now, not during physical social distancing, whatever you want to call it. We have tools for that. We have Zoom, we have everything. But when these restrictions ease up, right, you want to be face to face with people. You want to put your phone down, leave it off to the side. There's nothing more distracting than trying to talk to somebody who's, what'd you say? Right? I'm saying we've all been there. We've done it to people potentially, and we've all been there where somebody did it to us. It's not pleasant. But in a Forbes article, they brought down that social connections actually help with increased happiness and sense of well-being, less stress, increased engagement and loyalty. And now as a business owner or as somebody in business, you can recognize that these are huge, right? It sharpens memory and cognitive skills, right? We're walking into one of what they say is going to be one of the I don't know exactly what they call it, but like this Alzheimer's thing, this dementia thing, it's going to be huge. It's getting worse and worse every single year. But being more socially engaged helps to sharpen memory. It helps to sharpen your cognitive skills. That's important, right? It creates a healthier life. Nowadays, we have to do it via Zoom. But when you can do it face-to-face, do it face-to-face and be present. Be there. Engage with the people around you. Don't be distracted. A big part of this also, and again, this may not be so relevant right now with what's going on, but a big part of this also is to create spaces in your home and in your office that invite people to socialize. So over here, we have a picture of a deck where there's a lot of chairs, right? So sometimes people have like couches and they're covered with stuff. Or sometimes people will have a couch sitting by itself where there's no chairs opposite it. Or they won't really have good seating areas in different places. Create spaces in your home where it invites people to be social. Create spaces in your office where it invites people to come in and sit down, right? Break rooms, a lot of break rooms nowadays don't have tables, don't have chairs for people to sit and engage with each other because they expect people to eat at their desk. But it's healthier and more productive and creates more creativity and has a tremendous amount of benefits when people are able to socially engage. So create those spaces around so that when we are able to stop physically distancing from each other, and when we're able to stop socially distancing ourselves, we're able to socially engage. We're able to sit down and have a bite with each other, have a cup of coffee with each other, and enjoy each other's company. Rachel Naomi Remen, she's an alternative medicine advocate. She says the most basic and powerful way to connect to another person is to just listen. That's it. The most important thing we ever give each other is our attention. And so many of us are not being as good at this as we could be. We could always be better. Just remember that incremental improvement, just improve a little bit. And this is very hard nowadays because we're stuck in this moment right now that will last for however long it lasts because of social distancing, because of coronavirus, that our phones are our lifeline right now. But we still have the people that we are face to face with. So yes, when you're with them, put your phone down, leave it to the side, don't bring it in. But when you need your phone to be the tool to allow you to be social, use it 100%. But tech is a tool, and you have to remember that it's a tool and not get lost in the fact that, well, I just need my phone all the time, and I'm going to be on my phone. And what did you say again? Can you repeat that? Because I was tapping on my phone while you were talking, and I don't really know what you were saying. We don't want to be that guy. We don't want to be that guy. A friend of mine actually said that when he was in New York, they used to go out to eat, and they would put their phones in the center of the table, and they would have essentially like a dare or a bet. The first person to touch the phone would have to pay for the whole dinner. You can imagine that gave people a chance to actually socially engage face to face, not via text, not via social media, etc. So if anybody has any questions about any quotes or anything like that, I'm happy to send any slides to you that you want. I can email it, but I'm going to continue moving forward and everything. Just reach out to me via email or through the Power Entrepreneur or either way, and I will get it back over to you. Anyways, okay, sorry. So this is another part of being engaged, and this is another part of being present in the present moment. We're little kids, we have these toys, we love to play with them, and then one day we get to a certain age, we say, it's immature to play. Why is it that at some point it becomes socially unacceptable to play, right? This is something that is the cornerstone of who we are as human beings, right? You can play with words, you can play with adult games. I don't mean adult games, but I'm saying they make games that are set up more for adults than they are for kids. I'm saying there's tons of different ways to play. And I'll tell you, Dr. Stuart Brown, who's the founder of the National Institute of Play, says a lack of play should be treated like malnutrition. It's a health risk to your body and to your mind. Play is incredibly important. If you reintroduce play into your life, you will look and feel better. Play is so important. I cannot stress this enough. You could joke around with people when you're at the store. There's a million different ways to play. It's not just playing with trucks and playing with dolls or whatever. There's a million different ways to reintroduce play into your life. If you've ever heard of Dr. Abraham Maslow, he's the founder, not the founder, he's the creator of the concept of the hierarchy of needs. So he says that almost all creativity involves purposeful play. You can be more creative by focusing on play a little bit more. When you take a break from the thing that you're worrying about, the thing that you're thinking about, and you walk in and you do other stuff for a little bit, what ends up happening is that it pulls your brain away from the problem, lets your subconscious get to work on the problem while you're focusing on other things. And then you come back to the problem that you had, and poof, the answer's there. You've got it. You've got it under control. That's amazing, right? This is the way that your mind works. So allow yourself to play. And yes, if your boss ever walks in and you're playing with trucks on the floor, and you say, well, I went to this webinar and Ari Gunzburg said that play is really important and that's why I'm playing, you can give my phone number and have her call me. Give her my phone number, have her call me. I'm happy to have that discussion with people. Play is important. I've got a little exercise, which we're obviously not going to be able to do live right now, but I'm going to just tell you a little bit about it, and I'm going to ask that you do it later on your own. Now, over here, I have a picture of an orange. You do not need to do it with an orange. You can do it with any fruit. You can really do it with any food, anything. I recommend that you do it with a fruit, and if you have an orange at hand or a citrus fruit of any type, not a lemon or a lime, on hand, I recommend that you do it with that because it'll be a little bit more of an experience. But take a moment today. Give yourself a good 5-10 minutes to take this fruit, shut out all distractions, and focus just on the fruit. And try to use as many of your 5 senses as you can to experience this fruit. That means feel the fruit, right? Feel the bumps on it, feel the stem. If it's a navel orange, feel the navel. If it's got leaves coming out of it, feel the leaves. Are they sharp? Are they jagged? What do they feel like? Feel it. Look at it. What does it look like? Is it orange? Is it green? Does it look bad? Does it have scratches from the twigs? Like, what does it look like? Smell it. First, try just smelling the outside of the fruit, and then take your thumbnail or your fingernail or something, or a knife if you need, and just pierce the skin of the fruit a tiny little bit and see, does that increase the amount of smell sensation that you're getting from it? And then just sit with that smell for a while. It'll be less poignant with like an apple or a banana, but the smell will still be there. But with a citrus, the smell will just be overpowering and amazing. But experience that fruit, and then after you've felt it and you've seen it and you've smelled it, you can't really hear it unless you want to throw it on the floor, but I don't know if I recommend that. Try tasting it. But again, give yourself time, shut out all distractions, just focus on what's happening in front of you, engage with the current moment, engage with the present moment, and really, truly taste that fruit and experience that. It's an experience like no other. To be exceptional, to unlock our own greatness, to find our potential within. We can introduce greater presence in our work lives. We can introduce greater engagement in our home lives. It's all about being more there. Our phones, unfortunately, are a tremendous desire, are a tremendous evil inclination to be on the phone and to be paying too much attention to the phone. But try and put it down, not in your pocket, not on the table face up in front of a bunch of people, but like leave it in the other room. Have a drawer you put it in, leave it in your car. Just be engaged and be present in the moment. And you will have better things happening in your own life from it, and the other people have better things happening. They'll feel more presence from you because of it. The choice is yours. You can make this choice every single day, all the time. The choice is yours. You can bring you, all of you, to your life or not. It's your choice. We need that human connection. That human connection is what makes us human. Our fourth key, remember, we've got give, reason, engaged, and our fourth key is amazing. That's the word to remember, amazing. What's amazing about? Amazing is about positivity, mindset. The way that you look at things can change your entire world. Literally. Think about it, right? If you've got negativity, what does it do? What does negativity do to your mind? It closes us up. It shuts us down. It limits our possibility. When we're negative, we hunker down, right? We get smaller. But we've got positivity. It broadens our possibility. It starts us up. It opens us up. It opens us up to anything. We can do anything. We've got positivity. If you're in a positive space in your mind, the world is yours. If you're in a negative space in your mind, nothing can pull you out of that until you decide to pull yourself out of that. I coined a motivational quote in a different language, right? How does it go again? Im yesh tikva yesh kol kulo, im ein tikva ein klum. If you have hope, you've got the whole world. If you don't have hope, you've got nothing. Focus on positivity, right? If you watch a child is filled with positivity. They're filled with possibility. They can do anything. So we as adults need to adopt more of that child mentality. I can do anything. I will focus on the good parts of what is going on. I will focus on the positive. It's not, I have to do this. It's, I get to do this, right? Charles Swindoll says, life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. I have a little exercise that'll help illustrate this. If you take two fingers, right? Take your dominant hand and feel the index finger of your other hand. And really feel, right? What does the nail feel like? Is it hard? Is it sharp? Feel the knuckles, right? Maybe squeeze the skin a little bit and really feel what that finger feels like. Give yourself a moment to do that. And now let's talk about how you can continue feeling your finger if you want, but let's talk about what's going on over here. You've got touch receptors in your left hand. You've got touch receptors in your right hand. On all parts of your finger, you can feel everything. But when you're focusing on what's going on with your right hand, right? If you're focusing on what that right hand is feeling, is the nail sharp? You're not focusing on what that left finger is feeling while it's being felt. It's the same thing with positivity and negativity. When you're focused on positivity, negativity doesn't really have a space to gain hold. When you're focused on negativity, positivity really can't enter the picture. It's really difficult to bring it in. It's kind of like switching out a lens. I don't know if anybody remembers like a lot of professional photographers now, and then amateur photographers sometimes, but now with phones it's less so. If you wanted to take a different type of picture, you take a lens off your camera, you put a new lens on your camera. It's all about changing your lens. Stop looking at the world through that negativity lens. Take that off your camera, put it down, get rid of it, throw it away, and pull out your positivity lens and put it onto your own camera and start looking through the world through that lens, right? You have to start thinking. You can't think about, well, that person meant this, because first of all, you might be wrong. And second of all, even if you're right about what they really meant, if you internally change how you perceive it, it changes your life. It changes your ability to look at the things around you. Okay, there was actually a study done on there were a bunch of nuns who sat there and journaled, and they all came into the nunnery at the same time. This is a study by Martin Seligman, and they tried to figure out, is there any big difference in the way that they wrote down their journal entries that had a difference on how long they lived, because they had the same food, they had the same health care. A lot of the variables were controlled for. What was the biggest difference that made a difference? That like a staggering difference in how long these people lived, like 15 years, 20 years, like huge numbers, was how positive their journal entries were skewed. If they were just neutral or if they were negative, they tended to die early. If they were positive and they looked at things in a positive light, they tended to have a long life, a long and fruitful life. One quick disclaimer: you can't use positivity to change reality. Don't, I one time gave an example of something, you don't stand on your roof and say, Ari Gunzburg said, if I just think about the world in a positive light, I can fly and jump off the roof. I actually one time had somebody pop up and say, my friend did that and he was able to fly. And I was like, well, I was confused, obviously, like, how did your friend fly? And we were at a bar. I'm saying I was speaking at a bar. And he said, yeah, well, he flew until he hit the ground, and then he wasn't my friend anymore because he was gone, unfortunately. Don't create a reality that doesn't exist with things that can actually harm you. But to sit there and say, this person, maybe they really meant to hurt me, but I will look at their intentions in the best possible light, it changes you and potentially changes them also. It's up to you. You can always just look at things with this positive light, and everything about it changes. It's an amazing thing. Irrational optimism. This is Sean Acor, the happiness advantage. He says irrational optimism is the reason that market bubbles form and then inevitably burst, right? So we want optimism. We don't want to sit there and lie to ourselves about reality. We don't want to sit there and say we can fly even though we can't, right? It's a balance, it's a fine line. There's a lady named Barbara Fredrickson, and she's done a tremendous amount of studying into what creates happiness, what helps people live, what helps people be, and things like that. And she says her work shows that if you introduce more positivity in certain ways, you reap benefits in certain ways. And for instance, so if you introduce more joy into your life, it'll spark the urge to play. Remember, we were talking before how important play is to our lives. If you introduce more interest into your life, it will spark your urge to explore the world around you. If you're able to introduce more contentment into your life, it'll spark your urge to savor the things around you, to really appreciate what's going on. And that's how you really truly live life, is by appreciating the things that are around you. Most of the time we're moving so fast, we can't fully engage, we can't fully appreciate the things that are around us, but if we have that moment to savor them, it changes everything. And the more that we can introduce love into our lives, the more that it sparks the recurring cycle of all of the above things. My granddad, may he rest in peace, he used to sit there and do crazy jobs. He would weed his garden, and he had a huge garden. He would spend all day weeding it. Or he would clean his garage, and his garage had tons of stuff in it, tons. He would clean the whole garage. And a lot of people nowadays, they would sit there and just move on to the next thing. Okay, I did it, done, move. Okay, next thing. No, he would take his lawn chair, foldable lawn chair, walk over to where he had just done his big project, set it up, put it down where he could look at it, crack a beer, and sit down and just look at what he had done. Just appreciate his accomplishment that he had done. And it gave him that opportunity to savor, to sit in contentment with the fact that he had accomplished something that he really needed to, that he accomplished great things. Imagine the possibilities of what I'm telling you, right? I'm talking about the ability to alter reality. Not actually altering reality, but the ability to, when somebody does something that really maybe they meant to hurt you, and you decide to look at it in the best possible light, it changes your experience of it. It makes it good. It makes it into an amazing thing. It's real magic that we're talking about here. No matter what somebody does to you, it's your choice how you react to it and how you deal with it. William James of Harvard, he'll tell you, the greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes. This is the power of positivity. It could be your life. It can change everything. Now we're going to move on to the last key. So we've got give, reason, engage, amazing, and tenacity, persistence. What happens when everything seems too difficult? Well, you've got that giant project and you have to do it, and you're looking up at it and it seems like it's a mountain that you have to climb. What do? You take the next step. Sometimes we allow that fear of the next step. We allow that fear of that huge project to take control of us, and we just want to hide our head in the sand, forget everything, right? Susan Jeffers says, you've got to feel the fear and do it anyways. The whole world is open to you, but you have to sometimes get over that fear. A lot of times when we get that churning feeling in our stomach and we're nervous, I'm not talking about when you're robbing a bank, but like if you want to go do a speech, if you want to go to ask your boss for a raise, or go talk to your boss about creating better work conditions, or talk to your employees, you get that churning feeling in your stomach and you're scared. It usually means that it's a moment for growth. It's a moment to grow. Just persist in that journey, persist in that path, and great things will happen. Belief is the currency through which we purchase accomplishments. We have to believe before we're able to accomplish, right? When we believe that we can do it, we can do it. We can do anything. There's a recurring theme that everybody's probably heard of before. The published authors, right? They persist and they persist. Everybody's heard of Judy Blume. She went through 2 years of rejections. If you didn't hear of her, she's like a teen and a kids writer. 2 years of rejection. If she had given up after 1 year of rejections, we would never have the magic that she created with her books. We wouldn't have it. Has anybody ever heard of A Wrinkle in Time or Madeleine L'Engle? 26 times she was rejected. What happened if after the 25th rejection, she had sat there and said, forget it, it's not worth it, nobody really wants my book, I must be a terrible writer? We wouldn't have that magic. And then finally she found that publisher who saw the magic in what she wrote, and she won a Newbery Medal. It was an amazing book. We persist and we create amazing things in our lives. King Solomon says, 7 times a righteous man will fall, and yet he rises again. It's all about getting up that 8th time. There's an organization called High Lifeline. They put on a bike ride every year. I don't know what's going to happen this year, but I've done this ride 6 times. It's a 180-mile bike ride. The whole point of this bike ride is to raise money for kids with cancer. They have tons of little kids. And when you're on this bike ride and you're riding and you're trying to get to the next step and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it. I'm only 90 miles in. I've got 20 miles left to do today. There's another 70 miles to do tomorrow. I'm on this monster hill. How am I supposed to continue? The next step. All you need to pay attention to is the next step. I can get to that mailbox. I can get to that tree. And when I've done that 100 feet, I can probably do 100 more, but all I have to focus on is that next step. And you can do anything by just focusing on the next step until you get to that point, and then you can just focus on the next step after that. You can do it. You can make it happen. There may be naysayers. There may be people who tell you you cannot do it. You've got to do it. You've got no other choice. You don't want to wake up one day and say, oh, well, I could have, but I didn't. Nobody wants to be that guy or that girl. Nobody wants to be there. It may seem like the safe bet to just say, forget it, I give up. But it's really the most dangerous bet of all. You can't let somebody else's judgment of you become your verdict. They're not your judge, jury, and executioner. They're one opinion, and the only opinion that truly matters is yours. You can get counsel from people, you can get advice from people, but if you hear them being negative, if you hear them shutting you down, forget it. Don't listen to them. You have to persist in the face of all adversity. You have to move forward when everything inside of you is saying, just quit, give up, forget it, you can't do this. That is the moment that you need to stand up. You need to dig deep within yourself. You need to make it happen. Not wait for it to happen, make it happen. We're living in the moment of some of the greatest prosperity in history. But where's our happiness? It seems so elusive, right? Every one of the 5 keys, if you invest a little bit of your life into that key, right? 5 keys: give, reason, engage, amazing, and tenacity. If you put some of yourself into that key and allow it to affect your life, every single one of them can help you introduce more happiness into your life. And gratitude, being appreciative of the things that you have and the things that are available to you, it can have a tremendous make a tremendous difference in your life. And if you want a quick gratitude exercise, every single day, write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Do it for 21 days. It'll change your life. The things that I've discussed today, none of them are necessarily going to be a shocker to you. It's not, I'm telling you things that I'm hoping that you recognize as the truth within your own heart. They're not necessarily secrets, but we do hide them from ourselves. We do sit there and push them away and say, no, I'm not going to do that right now. No, that's not important to me. Even though these are the things that can help us unlock our own greatness, help us find the greatness that's within ourselves. We just have to have the desire and the strength and then make the decision to do it. The things that we think about the most, they will irrationally rise in importance in your mind, right? And I'm setting you up for this concept. There's a book called The Art of Stopping Time by this gentleman, Pedram Shojai. If you look at your life as a garden, and you look at each thing that you pay attention to, each thing you give time to as a plant in your garden, which plants are you making it into a flourishing place for? Is that a TV plant? Is that a person plant? Is that a family plant? Is that a work plant? Like, what's your huge tree that's taking up your whole garden? And obviously we all have to work, but we can work and then leave, or we can work and let it take over our lives. The more that you focus on certain things, the more that you're watering them, the more that you're giving them fuel to grow, the larger part of your garden they will take. It's think about it, think about what kind of garden have you been planting for yourself? What kind of garden have you been creating? There's an ancient Chinese proverb that says, be careful of your thoughts, for your thoughts become your words. Be careful of your words, because your words become your actions. Be careful of your actions, because your actions become your habits. Be careful of your habits, because your habits will become your character. And be careful of your character, because your character will become your destiny. So go, fly, find your thoughts, find your words, find your destiny. Use the passion and the action to apply the 5 keys to greatness to your life, and find the greatness within.